Hello, everyone, and welcome to this Big Finish news update. Where today we'll be talking about the Ninth Doctor meeting a familiar archaeologist, but maybe not the one you were expecting. Classic Doctors face new monsters all over again. Rhys Williams faces a folklore threat in Wales, and the Third Doctor and Sarah Jane are face to face with another clone war. What do you think of that bit of news?
Having just watched The Time Warrior, I am very excited for the Children of the Future.
Indeed.
It seems like a Brigadier Central story by Tim Foley, who did a brilliant job writing Third Doctor and Sarah in The Golf and The House that Hawks Built. So he's 2 for 2, so hopefully this will be a hat trick for him.
Yeah, some of the best Third Doctor stories from recent years, really.
Yeah,
But I think there's been so many good Third Doctor stories, really, hasn't there?
it's the
And
Jewel in the Crown range, isn't it?
yeah, I can't see this knocking that crown off at all, really.
No.
Yeah, it seems like all the elements are right. Obviously, Tim Foley, of course. Brigadier Alistair Gordon Lethbridge Stewart, played wonderfully by John Coleshaw. Like every time he plays him, he gets better and better, and he already started off very strong. So
Yes.
that's always wonderful. And then, of course, Tim Treloar and Sadie Miller as well as the Third Doctor and Sarah. It's nice getting this the same month that we've got them off into space with Revolution in space.
It's got a Third
Because
Doctor centric month in a way.
yeah, it is. But we also had a little bit of unit FOMO, I suppose, with that announcement. As exciting as that story looks to be, I think it's nice to know that alongside that, we're still getting our regular 70s unit fix.
Which
And
we've not had, I guess, since Kaleidoscope
yeah,
with this
that's true.
TARDIS team. Because we had
Yeah.
Intelligence of War, which is season 7, very different unit. And then obviously we
I
had
feel like-
Return of Joe Jones, which is kind of doing its own thing.
Yeah. I mean, with season 11 unit, it can be many different things, though, can't it?
Yes.
Like Kaleidoscope was going for the more whimsical style of story from that era. But you do still have things like Invasion of the Dinosaurs, which does feel like a bit of a callback at times to the season 7 grit.
I feel like
so
I
I wonder-
get that feel off this one, actually. Especially when you get the line in the synopsis, can the Brigadier trust his old friend? It feels very Invasion of Dinosaurs, that little line.
Yeah. I mean, you've often had times where they're at each other's throats for one reason or another.
Mm.
Or this seems like there's maybe some sort of influence outside of unit making its way on the Doctor. And I mean, having this be a sequel to the Time Warrior makes perfect sense as well.
Yeah.
And getting Sarah Jane and the Brigadier to check out Iron Grond's old castle, or presumably the ruins of it.
Yeah. Yeah. There could be like an archaeological dig or something of it from it.
Yeah, maybe. But they've told us not to expect Commander Lynx being unearthed from the rubble, which makes sense. Pretty safe to say he got blown into a million pieces there. But
Yes.
nevertheless, I'm looking forward to what Tim Foley cooks up because his mind cooks up so many wonderful Doctor Who threats.
And then we had John Dorney do a tweet going, "You really want to buy all four of these stories." So I'm excited to see where this is going.
Yeah, what the connections are between them.
And it's going to be an interesting experiment for Big Finish, isn't it? Because we've moved away from monthly installments, so it'll be nice to go back to Big Finish's roots with it.
And it's nice also that these aren't always the obvious choices. They're mixing it up a bit here because obviously I don't think anyone was expecting Chris in the first
No.
story. So yeah, I look forward to seeing who they announce for the Sixth Doctor, who presumably is going to be the March release.
Yeah. Could it be Frobisher? That would be a nice wild card.
That would be a wild one.
But I
mean,
think
there's certainly going to be
Careers-
shapeshifters in it with
Yeah.
the Rushans. So
So I'm curious to know where they're gonna go because I feel like nothing's off the table.
No, it does seem like a very Big Finish centric celebration, I suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think whereas something like Once a Future was sort of half trying to appeal to new audiences, which it rightfully should in a way, and I think all Big Finish
Should.
for the most part is relatively accessible.
Hmm.
And I'm sure, I've not listened to anything with Chris in before, but I imagine I'll be able to pick up the gist from that story. But it's nice to know they're not afraid to dive into that old territory and sort of use their own nostalgia at this point, really.
Yeah, they've got their own back catalogue now, haven't they?
Yeah.
So it makes sense,
I mean, sort of, usually this sort of event would be in a box set, wouldn't it?
I was just going to say, it feels more like an event because it's for over 4 months now. It feels more like an occasion.
Yeah. Whereas on the opposite end of that, you've got Broken Memories, which we've got some new details for at last.
Yeah.
So this is, 4 different doctors facing some recognizable monsters in a similar way to Sontarans versus Rutons. But, a bit more, in a way, separate, really.
Yeah.
But at the same time, more connected because they come out all together. Yeah, this is an odd release day because we first got details of it way back when we were getting Volume 3.
I think it was July 2022.
Yeah, and we got a cover fairly early on. Like the cover on the website still has the old logo, which by the time this release comes out will have been retired for over a year.
Yeah.
I mean, I imagine they're going to update it at some point. Yeah, it's sort of been an odd one because it was scheduled for October of this year, then got pushed back. But yeah, it's still coming out because we've now got individual story details, including the fact that the silent 2-parter written by David K. Barnes will be a bit of a flip on what we were expecting. The first story will feature the 8th Doctor, mid-time war, and then the second story, the second part of it, will feature the 7th Doctor. So, a bit timey-wimey, and also using the fact that, the silence wipe memories and such. And the 8th Doctor suffers amnesia all the time anyway.
His brain's like Swiss cheese. It's a great idea, and I think great selection of Doctors with the monsters. 7th Doctor and Silence seems like a match made in heaven.
I think the one that excites me most, though, is still Invasion of the Body Stealers, purely for the fact that it's 4th Doctor and Sarah together.
Yeah.
It's a combo we've not had yet. We've had 4th Doctor, Sarah and Harry in Lost Stories, but having a wholly original story with just those two, season 13/14 vibes, it feels right. And I'm glad we're finally getting that. Are you excited about January's Torchwood release?
Do you know what? I'm actually quite curious about picking it up.
Oh, are you?
Yeah, there's something about Folklore that kind of pulls me in like the Grey Mare did.
I mean, it's by the same writers, isn't it?
Yes.
Lauren Mooney and Stuart Pringle did a wonderful job there with the Grey Mare. Like, Big Finish are even using that in the news article to try and sell it, aren't they? They're saying, oh, remember this story? We're doing something else a bit like it, using a different bit of folklore with the puppets. And yeah, I mean, it's quite fascinating to hear that, they were often found in like people's houses, like up the chimney and stuff, and that thought of things like that living with people all that time can be a little bit creepy. Reese is staying with 2 characters who have lost their daughter recently, so yeah, certainly some emotional baggage that can be delved into there with Torchwood. It's an interesting cover though.
Yeah.
So it almost gives me Gulliver's Travels vibes.
Yeah, it does. It does make Reese look like an absolute giant of a man.
Yeah. He also looks a bit caveman-y. I don't know. Like, it's trying to be an action pose.
Yeah, it's kind of the Warren... Is it Warren Brown?
Yeah, it's that sort of pose, isn't it? But more hunched over.
I'm
not sure what it is, but yeah. Something about it is just amusing, I suppose.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think it's a poorly made cover by any means. I mean, it's Sean Longmore, so always a banger. But just something about it is... It looks like it wants to be taken seriously. I can't help but love it.
Yeah.
I feel bad. But Yeah, sadly, that is how I feel about the cover. But nevertheless, I think I may pick this one up.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe we can review it even if we both get it.
Yeah, who knows? Who knows? Who
Yeah,
knows?
we'll see what the future brings. But yeah, that's the thing with Torchwood, though, isn't it? Especially with how close to the releases they announce it. This is out January.
Mm.
They do often surprise us.
Yeah.
And then finally, another surprise, we've got Benny and the Ninth
Yeah.
Doctor,
Hmm.
which is one of those surprises that as soon as you see it, you think, that feels like an obvious choice.
It feels like a day one idea for Big Finish, having the person who started Big Finish's journey, Benny, and obviously the Doctor that started our journey, Christopher Eccleston, really.
Yeah, it's that new series, especially because there is like a tie really between the Virgin New Adventures and stuff, the areas they were mining, and what the new series would go on to mine. I mean, they've even adapted some of them, like Human Nature. Well, I say some of them. It's literally just Human Nature, but you know what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
You know, and that was a Benny story as well originally. And so yeah, just something about these two together does feel right. I mean, we're saying that a lot of this. It's just Big Finish doing all the right things at the moment, it seems.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2024 is now shaping up to be quite an exciting year. So yeah, the stories in this set are A Theatre of Cruelty by Lisa McMullen, The Running Men by Mark Wright, and Ancient History by Matt Fitton, which is the Benny story. So it's sadly not a full box set of Ninth Doctor and Benny. It is, I mean, the thing that worries me is I'm sort of getting similar vibes to Hidden Depths, where that brought along Liv Jenka to the Ninth Doctor's world. And that felt like, you know, a perfect combination, particularly with where Stranded left off, with Stranded being a much more domestic series. The Ninth Doctor fitting that slightly more domestic world with what Series 1 was going for. And then that box set was a bit of a disappointment, to be honest. But Series 3 of the Ninth Doctor Ventures is on a strong run at the moment, I would say. I don't think there's been a dud yet.
No, it's all been quite consistent, I'd say, compared to Series 2 that was kind of up and down.
Mostly down, sadly.
Yeah.
But hopefully this can keep that momentum going.
I mean, all the stories sound quite interesting.
Yeah, particularly The Running Men by Mark Wright. That one sounds quite exciting to me.
A Theatre Cruelty sounds quite interesting because it's about a theatre practitioner, Arto, who's quite extreme and quite out there with his ideas.
Yeah,
very
I remember I had to do a piece of his style when I was doing drama at A level.
Yeah, cause it's all about sort of the senses. So I think that would work quite well. I
imagine that's perhaps one of the ones that's made to appeal to Chris.
Yeah. Whether Eccleston's a fan of the work, because you have so many weird plays by him.
Yeah, actually, he'd certainly be quite well aware.
Yeah, he'd be well aware of the work of Arto.
Yeah. I mean, exciting stuff to come, isn't there?
A nice little surprise. I saw the tweet going, if you enjoyed The Last Day, then you're not going to want to miss this. And I was like, we're getting like an announcement of Benny's own box set.
Yeah, because we were sort of due something Benny, I felt.
Yeah, so this is a nice sort of, I don't want to say gap filler, but gap filler.
I mean, at the time that tweet came out, I wonder how many people actually had finished The Last Day.
Yeah.
Like, you'd have to have downloaded it instantly, gone through all 6 parts.
That's 3 hours.
Yeah. And even then, that tweet might have come out before.
Yeah, true.
But yeah, let us know what news article most excites you in the comments below. There's certainly a good bit of variety here, isn't there?
There is.
Hopefully for everyone. What do you think of Benny meeting the Ninth Doctor? We'd love to hear about it. Yeah. And I'm sure more news is coming now. It feels like the explosion after Christmas. They sort of had to hold it in for a while, didn't they?
Yeah.
But now we're getting lots of details about
gearing
things.
up
we're still not
for the new year.
As of recording this, we've still not got covers for Ninth Doctor or Children of the Future. So Yeah, I'm sure all that's to come
Hmm.
relatively shortly. Uh, Until the next news video, review, or whatever else we come out with, take care of yourselves. We'll see you next time. Please like, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Really helps us out. Goodbye,
And
everyone.
we'll see you next time. Bye bye.